Hello, everybody. Okay, so this episode is going to be a bunch of different marketing channels and the updates of how best to utilize them over the past 1 to 2 years. So as busy family photographers, it's really hard to keep on top of best case or best use case and that sort of thing with these types of platforms. So being someone who's super passionate about marketing, I thought I would just go through and give you some ideas. Okay, so Pinterest is really switching, just like every other social media, to engagement-based content instead of just education-based. So I think there's kind of been this thought where the only two channels that work on Pinterest are going to be engagement or inspiration, or sorry, switch that around. Are only inspiration and education, but engagement-based content can be really, really powerful as well. So that would be really good, really high keyword descriptions with your beautiful images, and asking people to take an action does well on Pinterest, just like it does well on Instagram. So you can also do reel type form, like short form video on Pinterest, and it also does well. I very, very rarely see short form video on Pinterest that's from a family photographer. Wedding photographers and elopement photographers have really figured out Pinterest. And if you want to get some inspiration, you can just go to one of their Pinterest accounts and you'll likely see that there's tons of information that they have on there that's in short form video instead of just static images. Okay, so as time has gone by, Pinterest has gotten a lot better with SEO. So just like the first example, using keyword-rich descriptions is going to help you. And so with each of these, I'm also going to include the trap. So the trap would be sticking to only traditional portfolio style images with no added information, no just so like what people are doing now, where they may have Pinterest hooked up to their Instagram. Their Instagram is mostly just static image posts, and it's pulling all of those posts into Pinterest. You're not going to get as much out of the app if you do it that way, as opposed to adding actual engagement-based content onto Pinterest. Okay, so we're moving on to blogging. So right now, Google is prioritizing experience-based content. So that means it needs to be more than just galleries. It needs to be showcasing your expertise. It needs to be personal stories that people can tap into, real client experiences, things like that. There also is this push towards AI enhanced keyword research, meaning like SEO tools are pulling in, you'll see when you look at something on Google, that little description at the top. So one of the things that you can add to your site that'll really help, that is highly prioritized by the AI form of Google, is a Q&A. Because oftentimes when people ask questions into Google, if Google can find the question and the answer in your blog, it'll bring that blog post up. And so that is a really helpful way to kind of get around traditional ranking and start to rank where the AI is considered, like where you want to be. You'll notice now when you ask a question, a lot more forums pop up because they're answering the question. So you can turn your blog posts into those types of question and answer posts, and that can help you. So the trap here would be writing a really basic heading like, "This family session was so fun," with just a few photos, no real strategy. And like 5 to 7 years ago, that might have been, as long as you added a location in there, enough to show up on Google. And now Google has said many times that they favor detailed, value-packed content with expert insights. And so that's directly from their terms or their best practices. The thing about it is that we can get really confused because we're like, well, expert, you are the expert of this. So that's the thing, is like, you are the expert newborn photographer in your area. So dedicating a few posts to talking about that expertise and answering questions, not only will it help your client experience, but it can also help your blog. Okay, Instagram. Back again with the new AI content recommendations. So the data is very clear that Instagram pushes reels and carousels over single images. Not only is this clear from their own, from the Adam man who runs the whole thing, but I did my own test on it, and it is very true. So prioritizing storytelling reels, showcasing client experience, prep tips, day in the life, inspirational images with trending sounds. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at Instagram, that is what kind of matters. Also, SEO is becoming very, very powerful. I did in the broadcast channel this thing where on some accounts, and mine's included in this, when I do a reel and it has information about something, I think it was like a marketing post or something. And when I go to the comments, there's a search suggestion now. And when I click on the search suggestion, because I have so many Instagram posts talking about marketing for family photographers, my post popped up in that search that was suggested. So then I did it for photography as well. And it was Seattle family photographers. And I clicked on that and my account popped up. So suddenly SEO and keywords are becoming, I know they've been saying this for a long time, and now we can kind of see it in practice. So the SEO within Instagram definitely matters. So descriptive, helpful captions will help new clients find you. Okay, so then utilizing the AI suggest captions, edits, and accessibility for auto captioning reels, according to Instagram, can help your overall visibility as well. So the trap for Instagram would be static images with short captions and no information. So even again, 5 to 7 years ago, there was so much more organic engagement that would probably be fine as long as it was one beautiful image with even a short caption would get the majority of your people who follow you be able to see it. That, of course, is no longer true. So engaging content that educates, entertains, or inspires, those three words are the three pillars. Educates, entertains, and inspires. It could also be educates, I cannot say inspire today. Educates, inspires, and entertain could be a form of getting to know you. So it could be like personal stories or come along with me or I'm building a photography business, that type of content as well. If you had a strategy where you were just siphoning through those three types of content, you would be doing way better than if you were just posting one static image and just posting to post. I think the bottom line with Instagram is that a little bit of strategy is going to go a long way. Okay, on to TikTok. Now, TikTok in the family photography world is not as utilized. There's definitely some wedding photographers who've cracked the code, but not many family photographers. If TikTok is allowed to stay after April 4th, I'm going to be utilizing it a little bit more for my business just because I feel like, I don't know, there's sometimes there's things about Instagram that make me nervous in terms of people's overall attention on that app, where I feel like the attention on TikTok is really good. So again, going with the AI enhanced content discovery, TikTok has had many updates in that environment as well. So what people don't know who haven't really been on TikTok is it can be very, very niche. So having a persona of a family photographer and sharing tips and showing up with storytelling content, if you're someone who enjoys doing that, TikTok's algorithm is way better than Instagram. So I don't see a lot of people doing that. I think it's definitely, I see a lot of people doing it in the world, but not in the family photographer world. So TikTok also has AI editing and auto captions, and those things will also help you. If you use CapCut, which is the editing software for TikTok, there's lots of suggestions and templates, and it's a pretty fun system. And one of the reasons I'm hopeful that it's allowed to stay is, to me, it's a much more enjoyable user experience than Instagram is. And I thought about going in on it before the beginning of this year and then realized that it could be taken away and that it almost was. And so after April 4th, if you're someone who's interested in that, that would be the thing. You just stick with your niche. You don't talk about anything else except your family photography business, and you will probably gain a lot more local traction than you think. The trap with TikTok is people think it is just dancing and for young people, but there's tons of moms on there. There's tons of people who could be potential clients on there, and there really are not a lot of family photographers showing up. Next one is email marketing. So again, there's new rules within the email marketing world where you really do need to have opt-in for being able to send marketing messages to people. And not everybody's doing that yet. And I think for the vast majority of family photographers, these lists are very small. So the chances of there being an actual issue is not very likely, but it's just something that you need to keep in mind. Ideally, you do need people to opt into your marketing emails. So email has changed too. There are emails that I'm a member of a couple email newsletters, and there's long form ones and short form ones, and then there's sales ones. And so I think the idea is just sort of pick how you want people to communicate with you. I know there's a couple family photographers who have started long form inspiration based email marketing newsletters, and that is a huge driver of engagement for them. It does take a lot of work and energy, and if you're not a natural writer, you might feel out of your element. Whereas if you had a seasonal sales strategy through email, that would be something different, where you're doing a build up to each season with helpful tips and information, and then releasing dates and then following up. So the trap in this one would be just sending random emails with a book now message with no trust previously built through that marketing channel. Okay, the next one is networking, either online or in person. So there's a ton of collaboration opportunities that have come on the market, even in the past year. I love using the collaboration tool even within my own business, because I kind of have my studio Instagram and my main Instagram. And so the majority of my studio posts are just collaborations that I've done with my main post or my main account. And so then I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone, which is really nice. And then when I have done giveaways or just collaborations with other people in my town, those collaboration posts are so easy to do. If you did them even a couple years ago, they were so much more clunky. There's also just ways that you can gather leads. You can use QR codes when you're networking. There's just ways that you can connect yourself to people in a lot better and more streamlined fashion than even a couple years ago. So the trap with networking would be only relying on word of mouth and kind of not thinking of your networking relationships as strategic partnerships. So the networking that you do, and I know you guys aren't going to want to hear it, but I do believe that everybody should be involved in at least one networking opportunity in your town, even if it's one that you create yourself, and then actually thinking of those people as strategic partners. That is and the way that you could work together to help each other with the way that it is easy to collaborate these days, I feel like there's really no excuse. You could have a meetup at a coffee shop. You could come up with collaborations you're going to do together. You could help each other come up with new ideas. There's so many things that we can do that can be easily implemented. You could share a Canva account if you all want to help each other create graphics. There's just literally an endless amount of ways that you can connect with people now. So that is a huge nudge. Get out in your community, become known. In this time, it is more important than ever that you are a recognizable person in your town as the go-to person for family or newborn photography. And I wish it didn't have to be so complicated, and I wish that you could just do one thing or put an ad in the phone book. Do they do ads in the phone book? Probably not. Put an ad on in the billboard of the local town and call it a day. And that's just not how marketing is anymore. So it's really important to stay up to date on all these things. But I just want you guys to know that I know that you can do it. Having worked with I'm really wrapping up now all the marketing mentoring people, the 8-week one-on-one. And I think that one of the things that pretty much everybody was able to take away from that time together was just that they're so much more capable of quote unquote hard things than they believe, because this is not an easy time to market, and it's going to ask a lot of us, and it's worth it to do this job. And so if you're going to do it, the reason I wanted to do this episode is if you're going to do it, you might as well take advantage of all the new tools. The last one I want to talk about, which I've talked about before, that I have just really loved, is this Repurpose.io, where, like, for example, it'll take this podcast episode and automatically make it a YouTube video. or it takes all of my reels and automatically makes them YouTube shorts. And in the busy world of trying to create content that takes me time anyway, being able to automatically put that on other channels has been really, really helpful. Okay, so I wanted to update really quickly on ways to work with me. So you'll be shocked to know that it's changing a little bit. So while I loved the one-on-one mentoring, I just don't have the ability to take on 6 to 8 of those in an 8-week chunk, because it turns into 6 to 8 hours a week of calls with each individual person. And so as I get into my own busy season, I just can't sustain that. So what's going to be offered moving forward is the one-on-one in the studio, which I had one of those that was super fun. I think I talked about it last episode, where we just spent 2 hours, computers next to each other, working out a marketing plan, and then we finished with a few headshots. So if you want to do one of those, you can just come to my studio on Bainbridge Island. You can make a day trip out of it. We have lots of yummy coffee shops and cookies available. The other option is going to be every single month, I'm going to be doing a 3-week intensive where we're just going to be going over your current marketing. We're going to be discussing marketing strategies that will work, and then mindset. And those are going to be small group, and they're going to take place inside of a course, and I'll be going live once per week inside. And those will be happening for April, May, and June. And then I get into my own busy season of summer. And so I'm going to check back in and see if I have time to do one in July. I'm not sure. I know people are busy anyway. And then the third way is just the one-off courses. So the one I have available that's out right now is the Facebook one. I also have the Pinterest course coming up in April. And then the website course, which I'm navigating over from another platform, will be available at the end of April or May. So the goal will be this, that you can come to my education site and you can decide what help you need and plug right into it. So the most transformational one-on-one opportunity is going to be coming to the studio and working with me directly. Working in a group will also be helpful. I really want the people who are in the groups to lean on each other and kind of become a marketing resource for each other moving forward. And then if you just need DIY course help, then those 3, which I find are like the 3 main channels that people struggle with, either their website, understanding Pinterest, or understanding ads. I feel like it kind of covers the full scope of marketing for a family photographer while still allowing me to have the bandwidth to run my own family photography business. So that's what's changing moving forward, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll have links for all of those in the show notes. And in the meantime, feel free to you don't have my number. Feel free to DM me any questions that you have about marketing. I'm always happy to help or answer anything that you might have. And I hope these updates were helpful. My wish for you is just try to be curious, not furious about everything that's going on, and be brave and put yourself out there. All right. Have a good week.